Welcome to the digital building. I'm Timberland Langan, and I grew up actually in the Mississippi Delta. I was born and raised in a very small town in Mississippi, and my grandmother, on my father's side, lived across the street from a cotton field in what we call the brickyard. And I remember seeing that as a child and thinking, wow, there's a lot of history here that I could not process, could not understand, and did not know about. And then on my mom's side, I grew up, my big mama, whom you will hear me talk about a lot, she grew up as she was a cook as a living, and then her mother was a sharecropper. So I come from very humble means, and yet those are the stories that I learned so that I could do the things that I am doing now financially, is learning how to take small seed and multiply it. And so we'll be talking about that a lot today, even in the midst of COVID-19, how our feelings and our emotions impact our spending. So that's a little bit about my background, born and raised in Mississippi to sharecroppers and cooks. And I learned my most valuable money lessons from them. Even though I've moved to Los Angeles, I've been living here a while, working as a teacher. I have been able to take very meager resources. UCLA graduate, I've traveled the world, and I've started with very modest means, and I've taken those modest means to create a life that I love. And even in the midst of COVID-19, hi Kanique, I see you, girl. I see you, Jones. I see you, Andy. Awesome. Thank you all for joining me. Welcome to the digital building. Had some trouble over on YouTube, so we had to move it to Facebook Live, but I'm so happy to see you all. Thank you for making the transition with me. Live streaming for the first time, so there's a learning curve here, but I'm so grateful and thankful that you are here. And so what I want to do is just get on into the lesson. And I just want you to know I was there on YouTube at 4 o'clock as promised. I believe in starting on time and being on time, but I ran into a technological tofu and we had to make it over here to Facebook Live, but I'm glad you're here with me. Like I say, I love the term in the digital building. I've got a lot to learn, but let me just share that the question of the day, the topic it says how to be safe, sound, sane, and financially savvy, even in the midst of COVID-19. And I want to delve into this topic through 3 points today. Money is emotional, money is a tool, and money is circulated. So we're going to dive into the first little point. Money is a tool. And I know that right now, COVID-19 is creating a lot of emotional feelings for us because we are now in an era that we've never seen before. We're working from home. Some of us may have lost our jobs. And so we're feeling uneasy. And I've often said that money is emotional. We are not sure. We are experiencing fear, doubt, and insecurity and anxiety around the things that are happening in our world. We may not feel like we have enough income. And then there are some people who are saying that they are prospering during this time. For those of you who say, you know what, my income is fine. I want you guys to, and I don't want it to be me just doing all the talking. So if you guys would just tell me, how are you feeling financially? Let me start with that. Can I get somebody to say, if you're feeling like I'm doing okay, I'm managing well financially and just in general, just give me like an M, just an M for people who are saying, you know what? I'm okay with money right now. I'm okay with resources right now. Because to be honest with you, not everyone is struggling. So I want to hear from you. And then for those of you who are saying, you know what, I am struggling a little bit, but I'm going to be okay. And I just need a little help. Maybe you can type MH into the chat for that. But we often struggle with fear, doubt, and insecurity, and how that could have manifested is like in this COVID-19 crisis. Fear had us stocking up on toilet paper. Fear had us, kind of stocking up on the paper towels because we were afraid that there was not going to be enough. And then doubt is like, oh my gosh, my relationships are not going as well as I thought. And COVID-19 is kind of shedding a light on that. And so maybe what I do is I go shopping for athletic gear because they tell me that people are spending more on athletic gear now than ever. And that's an interesting thing to be spending money on in a time of COVID-19 crisis. And then too, maybe you feel a bit insecure. Oh my. And so what do? Some of us, we get into emotional spending. We get into, like some of us, or we eat quite a bit. And emotional overspending is really quite challenging because that's something not only do we sometimes do in crisis situations, sometimes we do that just in general. And so what I want to share is, number one, when we create awareness behind knowing that our money is emotional, then we can take action and realize, but before you start spending, think about how you're feeling. Because as you know, our emotions partner with our feelings. So think, relax a little bit and think about, what am I needing something and I'm using money as a way to make me feel better? Or do I really need this item right now? Is this a want or is this a need? Or is this am I wanting at this time? Am I being needy at this time? And if so, there's a different way to treat that, because when you're in that broken hearted space, it doesn't really matter how much money you spend. You're not going to be able to fill that hole. So what I recommend in those cases is that you do something to make yourself feel better. Like me, I love to sing and dance. Only at home in karaoke places, because I know that we've got some professional singers in the house today. I can't do that, but I do that because it makes me feel good. It makes me feel fine, and it doesn't cost me money to do that. That again, with money is emotional, the worst thing you want to do is spend money when you are not in the best frame of mind. And this is what I was saying, even with some of the financial gurus and the government and all of that, people are making recommendations about what you can do with money. And right now, like for example, they're saying things like, okay, don't pay your mortgage right now. Don't pay your essential expenses right now. We'll put that on the back burner. Now, that I highly do not recommend you taking that on. They're saying here, especially in California, that you can forego your payments for about a year. I recommend not doing that, because if you're already struggling to make 1 month's payments or 2 months' payments, can you imagine how that is going to add up in 12 months? So the thing to do in that situation, and I hope that you guys will go to my website, because I just did a blog on this, and I talked about gathering up the fragments. This is the time to gather up the fragments so that you can pay. You'd be surprised at what you can come up with when you do that. And let me explain what I mean. You know the story in the Bible, the 5 fish and 2 barley loaves? The disciples were told to feed 5,000 men and women plus and children with 5 fish and 2 barley loaves. And that looked like a very impossible task. And I'm thinking you may be feeling the same way with your expenses right now. It seems like impossible to pay them all. But when you look at them through the eyes of abundance, it looks a little bit different. And what I mean by that is you think about gathering the fragments. I know that one day I was I was in my looking at my pants pocket, and I just happened to find $50. Well, you know what? That $50 might just be what you need to take care of a utility bill right now. And so what I mean by that is just looking at what's around you, what's in your house, what's in your store, and just thinking about being a little more creative with what you already have and how to use that. And in my in the book, I give you like 40+ ways of how you can cut your budget, cut your spending in half to make it feel like you've received a raise. One of the things I just did too is that because we are sheltering at home right now, we are not driving as much. So what you can do is maybe contact your insurance company and tell them, hey, you know what? I'm not driving as much. Maybe I can receive a discount on my insurance premium right now. These are all very practical things that you can do right now to free up money to pay your essential bills. And one of the things about living like a millionaire now, which is what this is all about, and that means you don't have to forego everything you need, everything that makes you happy, so that you're just miserable. Like I saw something on Facebook where you're just paying bills and that's all you do. All I do is pay bills and then I die. We're not talking about that. That is not the millionaire lifestyle. But because we're in a pandemic right now, we just want to make sure that we are cutting all the waste, that we're not wasting any money, that we're not spending money on things we don't need, things we don't use. For example, if you've got cable, well, you know what? Are you watching all 150 channels? I'm not saying give up cable completely, but maybe give up the channels you don't watch. Maybe you only watch 75 channels and you can let the other 75 go. Then that also gives you extra money in your pocket right now to do things with. And so that's what I mean about using money as a tool. And I want to talk a little bit more about that now, because that's the second point. Point one, money is emotional. Point two, money is a tool. And I want you to think about tools. What are some of the tools we use? Bricks, nails, hammer, all of those things are tool. And what we do with tools, we build things. We create things. Maybe you want to build a business. Maybe you want to build your home life. You know, maybe that's where you start in terms of your home. Think of your home, the financial aspects of your home, like a business. And then you do what we were just saying earlier. Sometimes in business, we do have to cut the fat. So that is one of the ways that you can do that. And then even beyond just cutting the fat is that you think about what it is you want in life. What is it that you were put on this planet to do? And I do believe that everyone comes here with a purpose and a plan in life. And we have to be very strategic with our resources so that we can accomplish that goal. For example, one of the things that I love to do is travel. I would not be alive if I couldn't travel the world. So that is my dominant passion. And then there are other things I love doing as well. But for me, being strategic, I'm willing to say, hey, maybe I don't go to the nail salon and get my nails done as often, because I'd rather use those resources to travel and see the world. You have to determine what's most important to you. And this is what I call just being strategic with your money and being strategic with your resources so that you can do the things that you love most. And what I mean by that is like live your life by design, not default, where you set the tone for your life. You design the life you want, and then you make it happen.